Gandhi once said, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." But is this something that society really allows us to do nowadays? I am pretty sure that all of you, or at least most of you, have heard the following. You can't make a change because you're too young, or because you lack education, or because you lack resources, or because you have enough resources so you don't need a change, or because of your nationality, or because of your gender, or because. As a young Colombian woman who hasn't even graduated high school, I've heard these types of comments several times directed at young people. Some of them even directed at me. When I say that although I don't know exactly what I want to study or what kind of job I want to have, that I know that I want to change the world. And this situation really annoys me. Yes, it is true that society has created a stereotype of what a person that can achieve change looks like and has in its possession. And this is why I am here, because it is just a stereotype. One I want to break, because it is not needed when generating the change you wish to see. Context does condition us, but it does not determine if we can or cannot change the world. This confronts Sartre's concept of liberty applied to change. Well, he says that although our context does condition us, it will never determine us and therefore affect our liberty. And you can apply the same theory to change. What do I mean by this? Our context conditions us. Yes, it sets some type of odds or steps that we need to follow to be able to accomplish the desired change. Still, it does not determine if we can or cannot change the world. And to all of the adults that have ever questioned young people who are willing to make a change, let me tell you a little bit about my story. I will start by speaking about two individuals who have inspired me. And I refuse to see them as stereotypes, as they're more than that, they're role models. The first one is Malala Yousafzai. She's from Pakistan. And when she was only 15 years old, she was shot on her way back from school by the Taliban. But a bullet was not enough to silence her fight for education and women's rights. When she was only 11, she gave her first speech, which was titled, "How Dare the Taliban Take My Basic Right of Education?" And at only 17, she became the youngest person ever to be awarded Nobel Peace Prize. She continues to fight for education and women's rights all over the world. There's also William Kamkwamba from Malawi. When he was only 14 years old, he started the project that changed his life. Well, as he had to drop out of school, he started visiting the village's library, where he found the book that changed his life. After reading using energy, he decided to make a makeshift wind turbine to be able to provide electricity and light to his home, so he could continue on studying and reading after it was dark outside. He not only built one of them, but three, as well as a solar-powered water pump. This was the first part of my story. These people inspired me, but what did they inspire me to do? It was a call for me to make a change. And this is where my story continues. My name is Gómez. I am a 17-year-old Colombian and a current junior high school student. As long as I have a memory of, I have always tried to make those around me smile. I have always tried to understand others, but more than that, I have always dreamed of helping those around me. What I started thinking was how to start small. Well, the first question I make myself was, what bothers me about my context, and what can I do about it? The first thing I realized is the lack of confidence and need for social approval that I felt when I was in middle school. Therefore, I decided and held middle school workshops for students on self-awareness and confidence, so they maybe could not have the same problem that I went through. The second thing that really bothered me was that I was able to see around me how some people get so much and are so ungrateful for what they have, while others get so little. And that is why I always take the chance when I can to promote social awareness and to inspire others to start making little changes in their societies. Another thing I noticed that really bothered me was the feeling of boredom and loneliness of children in hospitals. And what I did was that I raised board games and I raised craft materials, as well as Christmas gifts. But not only that, but I went and spent time with these people. This is what bothered me about my immediate context. But still, as I was privileged enough to travel around my country, my context expanded. And therefore, I felt the need of making bigger changes. I went to La Guajira, a place rich in landscapes and cultures, but also full of struggles. I knew I wanted to do something about it, but I really didn't know where to start or how to start. Later, I came to know that the #1 reason for child mortality in the region is the consumption of contaminated water. Therefore, although the process was never easy, I was able to design a solar distiller that turns contaminated water into drinking water with simple chemical processes. Currently, I am brainstorming and working to be able to bring this innovation to life. But the real question is, what do we all have in common? And by us, I mean all of us who try to change what bothers us about our context. These are some characteristics that I picked up from Malala and Kamkwamba, and which I tried to apply and have tried to apply throughout my story. The first one is determination. Determination is about dreaming big and working hard. And therefore, it is about dreaming and working with your heart. The second one is creativity and innovation. This is about thinking outside the box instead of complaining about the lack of resources available to you. This is something I had to do, for example, because it is true that I am not a scientist or an engineer and don't have that level of knowledge. However, I had to adapt the knowledge I had to be able to create a technology that can purify water. The third is resilience. This is about learning how to stand up when you fall or sometimes pushed down by others. It is about how you confront the challenges you are faced with in your path. This is something I had to have because I discovered once that while doing my design, I had all of my mathematical calculations wrong. And therefore, I had to start again. But still, I never gave up. And neither did Joseph Say or Kamkwamba. The fourth and last is risk-taking, which is about, well, taking risks. And although it might sound unbelievable, is where most of us fail. Our biggest fear is failure. And as failure is a possible outcome of trying, then we're terrified of trying. But the first risk we have to take is trying. I am pretty sure that all of you, and me as well, we have not done something in life because we're afraid of failing. But if we never try, then we will never even have a possibility, a slight possibility of succeeding. As impossible as it may sound, your context and personal factors do not determine the change you can generate in a society. Because change is about determination, creativity, resilience, and risk-taking. And to all of the young people out there, as you have seen, age is not a limitation when generating change, because there's no such thing as too young to start. But now a message to all of you watching this. It is not about having the capacity to make a change, because that doesn't exist. It is about wanting to do so. Start now. Start thinking, start brainstorming, start acting. Start being indifferent to the flaws and injustices that you see in your society. Start small, but start. Because you, yes, every single one of you watching this today is capable of making a change in society. Because change is only about attitude. And you might be saying, Anna, you just told us how to change or impact a society, not how to change the world. And to that, I'll answer that I have. Because if we all went out and generated one change in our society, no matter how small, then together, we would be changing the world. Lastly, I want to say that Malala Yousafzai and William Kankwamba have been the change that they wish to see in the world. I like to see myself as on the path of doing so. So, what are you waiting to be next? Thank you.